and welcome back to Board Crazy. I am D, and I am joined today by...
I'm Graham.
I'm just into it. First list video. I'm Will, everyone. Hi.
Yeah, that's right, Will.
I'm pumped.
We're doing a list video. I like lists.
I would rank list videos as probably my third favorite kind of video.
Bam, just like that. So we're doing one of our own. We've played a lot of games on this channel now over the last 2.5 years or so. I don't know how many exactly. It's over 100.
5 or 6.
It's over 100.
Wow, wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah, so we're going to sit down here as 2019 is coming to a close, and we're going to rank our...
Top games of 2019.
No, our top 10 games that we've played on the channel so far.
Up to this point.
Yes, up to this point, through the end of 2019, basically, because we're done this year with new games.
Okay, D, why don't you explain to the audience before we start how you calculated our top 10 games we've played on the channel?
All right. We each made our own individual top 10 lists. They were sent to me by these two, and then I compiled them. Our top ranked game each would get 10 points, second place game would get 9 points, and so on, down to 1 point for 10th place games. And then I just add up the points, and I arrange the list from least to most, basically.
Did Graham's custom-made machine learning AI help you a lot with making these lists?
No.
Yeah, you didn't use it.
It's a hindrance.
Yeah, the issue is it kind of became self-aware, and it's kind of going on a ramp. If you find it, let me know.
So, because we're really good at this, our first ever top 10 list has a tie for 10th place. So it's going to be top 11 games, kind of. A tie for 10th place. This was Will's number 7 game, Graham's number 8 game, a game we just played very recently on this channel. It's Era Medieval Age.
Yeah.
Was it on your list?
No, it did not make my list. But
Let's kill him.
it is a fun game. Why don't you guys tell people why you like it?
First off, I've never really played a roll and build before.
Okay.
I think it's a really... I don't know how many of those even existed. I know that it's one of the first. Either way, it's really fun to, roll a bunch of dice, use those dice to collect resources, and then turn those resources into buildings that are... It's a beautiful looking game. Great 3D, printed buildings and all that.
Yeah,
you put them in your board.
Absolutely.
So there's puzzles, and then there's resource management. There's a lot of different mechanics. It's just a really cool time.
I think when a game uses dice properly, it really provides a sense of almost surprise and exhilaration when you don't. And so, but especially about Era is that it's so well balanced and it's so well utilized. You have enough control over the dice to really do what you want to do.
And dice are always useful.
Yeah,
even the bad rolls are good rolls
exactly,
in some way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's what really set Arrow over the edge for me and put it into the top 10 list was the way they included that dice mechanic into it. And of course, building medieval cities is fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a fun game to look at.
Yeah.
So that game got 7 points total based on our system. Also with 7 points, we've got Graham's 7th place game and Will's 8th place game. And the other way around, tied for 10th, is Architects of the West Kingdom.
Ah, yes.
Another very good game. Did not make my list, but
yeah, comparing it to its predecessor in that line of games, Raiders of the North Sea.
Yes.
There's just a lot more going on.
Yeah.
It's another worker placement, resource management game. I really liked the balance of you can either be a bad guy and get from take from the black market. You can be pious and build the cathedral, and then the cathedral and the building cards give you multiple ways to score. And it's just another visually stunning game from Garphill Games. So, all things considered, really good.
Yep, I agree. That's I've played Raiders of the North Sea a lot because I actually have the app on my phone, and after I played it however many times, I started realizing how kind of limited the game is.
the game is sort of designed in a way that always has to sort of play similarly.
But it's such a good base for a game, and I really thought Architects took that base to the next level and really just made it a very awesome, replayable, and all-around fun game.
Yep, I agree. I really like that game as well. Didn't quite make my list, but it's definitely one I enjoy. Definitely better than Raiders, for sure.
Yeah.
So we also have another tie for 8th place. This is our last tie, but we're getting them out of the way early at least. So we'll start with 8 points. My number 3 overall game, a game that did not make either of these two's list, is Tiny Towns.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think I put it in an honorable mention.
You might have. Yeah, so we've had one city builder, now for another one with sort of puzzle, sort of Tetris-y sort of mechanics. unlike Era, where you are relying on dice, this is not a game where you're relying on dice. You're relying on just whichever resource you get, and it's up to you to place them however you think is best. And every time I play Tiny Towns, it's a very similar experience. I start off thinking, I guess, because if the board is open, there's not much thought that has to go into it, and it's like, it's fine. But then as you keep going and the board gets more and more cramped, and you really have to start thinking about it, and it's just, you don't always do well. I certainly don't, but it's really satisfying when you have a strategy come through, and you can mess with your opponents and stuff, like, okay, what don't they need? It's not hard to keep track of what your opponents are working on.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Also, it's a cute game, like, the art style and all the little buildings and stuff. I really like it. All right, tied with that, also a number 3 ranked game that didn't appear on other lists, The Grizzled.
Yes, I
Will's
love
number
The
3 game, which also, with the At Your Orders expansion specifically, I believe.
I think the game works better with the additions that the At Your Orders expansion adds.
Certainly more forgiving.
Because it adds missions to the game. Yeah, it makes it slightly... It also, I think, makes the game a little bit more accessible because it's more structured, and that makes it a bit... it's still a really hard game, but it does make it a bit easier. I love the World War I theme. I'm a huge cooperative guy. I love cooperative games, and I think the game really matches its theme to its gameplay really well for having such simple mechanics. It's a really unforgiving, kind of like cold game, which might sound like a turnoff, but given, again, it's a World War I game, it's really not to me. I think it's beautiful in a weird kind of way, and I also, when you do win and you get your soldiers out alive, it feels great. So I really like that game. Yes.
Yeah, you sort of feel like you are playing those characters because they are named and everything.
Yeah. I love the artwork.
The artwork's great. We have played that game a lot. More than most of the games we play on this channel.
Because we had to beat it.
Yeah, we had to. It's not easy.
Yeah, we need to get our hands on the Armistice Edition. Yeah. It's a campaign mode version of the game. It's much bigger.
But yeah, it's a really good. If you're looking for like a quick, light challenge.
Yeah.
Especially for like a war buff.
It's also really easy to teach and get people into.
Yeah, exactly. We've taught a number of people. Yeah, it's a great game. Number 7. Okay, so I should explain a tiebreaker thing here. So in instances where games have equal points, I will break the tie based on we'll go to the game that has appeared on the most lists, because I feel like this is a cumulative group list. I want to give prominence to the games that most people are enthusiastic about. So our number 7 game, which also has 8 points.
I thought 7 was Grizzled.
No, the Grizzled was tied for 8.
Oh, okay.
With Tiny Towns. Number 7 also has 8 points, but it appears on 2 lists. It's Will's number 9 game, Graham's number 5 game. It's Heaven and Ale.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So Graham, what do you like about Heaven and Ale?
It's such an interesting theme, but it's also so well designed around that theme that you're worst in the way the scoring is really weird at first. Trying to figure it out is like,
I remember you having issues.
I hated it. I was like, I don't get this scoring. But once I figured it out, it was like, So it's and you can only do as well as your best as your worst ingredient.
Yeah. You're brewing beer in the game.
Yeah.
And basically, in order to brew the best beer, you have to get the best ingredients.
Yes.
But at the end of the game, your worst ingredients will hamper your better ingredients. You'll wind up with a sort of an average product based on all that stuff.
Yeah, and the game has a good variety of mechanics that at first you don't necessarily understand how they all fit in. Again, it's one of those games where there's like, when it's all over, you're like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Because there's like the rondelle mechanic. There's just a lot going on. It's a heavier game.
Yeah.
It's a really good game.
I like the two sides of the garden and how you have to approach those differently. Yeah, that's a really good game.
Yeah. We should play that again soon.
It should.
Actually, forget the video.
Yeah.
Let's just
where it is around here somewhere. So our number 6 game with 9 points. This is the last game on the list to only appear on one of our lists. It's Will's number 2 game, Undaunted Normandy.
Wow.
Another recent one.
Yeah. I'm a big history guy. War history, I know it's kind of cliche, but I enjoy it. And that game, it captures a World War II battle in a very simple 2-player war game package in an extremely effective way. You can play it as a campaign game. It has 12 scenarios, all from the Normandy campaign, all based on real historical events from the 30th U.S. Infantry, and it's just really fun. playing at either side, playing as the Germans or the Americans, and balancing like, oh, do I have mortar troops? Do I have sniper troops? Do I have machine gunners? And they all do different things. And then you still have that satisfaction of like classic wargaming or, just wargaming in general where you roll dice for hits. It's really tactical. It maybe moves a little slow, but I can't get enough of it, and I cannot wait for Undaunted North Africa and tanks and all the stuff they're adding. It's just,
Yeah.
Danga, who played it against me in the video, loves that game.
The other one, if you're a history war buff, that's it's a good one. Okay, into the top 5 now. With 11 points here, my number 2 ranked game, Graham's number 9 ranked game, we have Everdell. Another city builder.
Yeah.
We seem to like those. I love Everdell. Every time I play it, I get excited. It's actually kind of similar to Raiders, which we criticized earlier for kind of playing similarly each time you play it. Because it kind of does, it has the same sort of flow from season to season as you slowly build. But there's just such a great variety of cards and different interactions, and there's so many things that change from game to game with the different goals you can go after and bonus stuff. The art is fantastic. The components are mostly great when they're not being annoying. It's a game I want to get expansions for. I know there's some new ones coming out soon. Yeah, I adore that game.
Most fun part about Everdell is towards the end when your engine is really going, you just are like, yep, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do, by the end of it, you feel like you've built something so powerful and strong, and it's just like you almost feel unstoppable, and then you realize, I almost feel like I go into the last round of that game, always like, I got this.
Yeah, no, you feel confident, because you almost guaranteed to have an engine that's doing something.
Actually, if it wasn't for the Fool card...
Here comes the Fool card again.
Here we go.
It might have been higher on my list.
Yeah. Anyway, number 4. Big jump here, up to 14 points. We have the number 4 game for both Will and Graham. It is Jaws. There it is.
Oh, Jaws.
How about Jaws, boys?
Go ahead, Will.
Okay. So it's a 2-stage game. In the first half, you're trying to find Jaws. So it's a hidden movement game, similar to some of the I guess it's not letters from Whitechapel.
Based on the movie.
Yes, based on the famous shark horror movie. It is. So the first half again, hidden movement. It's really fun. It's a little difficult. It's a little easier for the Jaws character to move around, and but it's fun for both sides because the Jaws person gets to hide and hunt swimmers. We have to find them. In the second half, he's attacking the boat, and I think what makes the game really stand out in my mind is how thematic it is. It is probably the best adaptation of any other sort of property to board game I've ever seen.
Definitely.
Down to the little details, they got everything right. Like the swimmers are minor characters from the film. Graham, what do you think?
I think my favorite part about that game is just how balanced it is. Because going into the last round, it always seems to be right down to everyone's always like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen?
Huddling on the last piece of boat.
Yeah, exactly. It almost works out too perfectly. It's a little scary.
I will never forget our first full playthrough of it.
Yeah.
We were play testing it. This was before we ever recorded, and we get to the second half of the game. We did not do well in the first half of the game. Graham and I were the hunters. He was the shark, and we did real poorly, and the shark had a lot of powers, and we did not have much on our side. And you were complaining, the first few rounds
hated it.
of him attacking the boat. You were like, "This is stupid. We have no chance.
This game's unbalanced. It's unreasonable." I hated it the first playthrough.
And then, but the end though, that first playthrough, it came down to the last possible turn.
I think every single time we play it, it comes down to the wire.
Yeah, it really does. It's so good.
Yeah.
What's number 3 then?
Number 3, okay. This is going to lose a tiebreaker, but it's with 19 points. My number 1 overall game, Graham's number 2 overall game, in third place is Quantum.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Look over there. Pretty game. I feel like it's a slightly underappreciated game, or at least under the radar a little bit.
Yeah.
It is a blast. I mean, I understand why it wouldn't necessarily be for everyone. Will apparently. Yeah, so it's technically an abstract strategy game with a very well incorporated sci-fi theme tacked on. Basically you've got ships, spaceships, which are dice. You move them around. The strength and speed of the ship is determined by the number that's face up. And you get into combat. It's very simple. It's just a single roll against each other, and lower score wins and all that. But everything about it is just, I don't know. It seems so well considered. It's the rare game where I want to get involved in combat.
Yes.
Normally you play like a war game or
Definitely.
anything like that. I am personally very cautious. I like to like bide my time and strike when it seems best. In this game, you can't play like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't punish the losers so much because you can get your new ships back out there so quickly. Yep. And it's just so fast, so simple, so fun. I love the cards which you can use to like upgrade your abilities and everything. And I think it's a great looking game personally. I think the dice are really cool looking. I think the boards and everything are real neat.
Yeah, it's definitely unique and a really well balanced game. And I think even one of the rules where tie goes to the attacker, which is so uncommon in a game. It's always like ties either just it doesn't matter or it goes to the defender or something. But that is so cool, and you're right. It does. It feels you want to attack, which is uncommon. So you said that really well. That's
best quality dice I've ever seen included in the game.
Well, it's interesting. I feel like that's a criticism sometimes people have of the game. I feel like there are some editions where like the dice aren't very good, but the one we have. They're amazing.
They're
these frosted, big, like chunky. I love them. Yeah,
great.
So number 2, the first of 2 games to appear on all 3 lists. It is my number 5, Will's number 6, Graham's number 3. It is Cryptid. Cryptid over there, by Osprey Games.
Osprey.
Yeah, Graham, you like this one the most apparently. What do you want to say about it?
Well, I love anything that has deception or any kind of like detective work or something. And this game is so cool and you're just trying to, I don't know what it is. It's like you feel really clever when you figure someone else's clue out. When you're like, yeah, I got it.
There's only so much information available to you at any moment.
Yeah.
You have to intuit, or deduce, rather, I guess would be the right word. Untold information based on the behaviors of your other people playing the game.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can be very clever in just where you place your clues and trying to figure out other people's clues. It just makes you you feel very clever. Yeah.
It reminds me of like a treasure hunting action film where the good guy and the villains have information, but they need each other's information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because they're both going after the same treasure, but they both have their own little little pieces of and then you have to one side has to hoodwink the other side and get it right. In case
it's not clear, it's basically it's a big map that you assemble with hexes on it. One space is the space everyone's looking for. Everyone has a little bit of information, but not all the information.
Yeah.
So basically, where people are saying like things are or not, you can sort of go from there to figure out what hex it is you're looking for, and it's a challenge, but it's really fun. And we all seem to like deduction games, so it's no surprise that this appears on all of our lists because that's a good one.
Definitely. It's one of the better ones.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Cryptid also with 19 points, and then we move on to our number 1 game so far that we played on this channel. It is my number 6 game, but it's Will's number 1 game. It's Graham's number 1 game. It's actually 2 games, really. It's Letters from Whitechapel and Whitehall Mystery.
Yes, because they're so closely related, I think they deserve to be almost considered one and the same.
Yes, which would be no surprise for anyone who's been following the channel for a while. We've gone back to these games pretty frequently.
Yep.
But you guys have them both as your number 1, so sing their praises.
Just to summarize, these are games where you're playing with a board. There's a ton of numbers, and the bad guy, the Jack the Ripper character. We're hunting Jack the Ripper.
He points at me because I'm always Jack for some reason.
Well, I already like because it's Victorian history. It's awesome. So yeah, it's a historical game, so it's got to appeal to me in that regard. But then, the Jack the Ripper character moves on the numbers. The detective characters move on the like squares that represent like the streets and the cross streets. And we're trying to hunt them, and we're trying to gather clues, and it's all deduction. You can't. It's a hidden movement game. We have no idea where the Ripper character is. I keep pointing at D because D's the villain.
D's always been.
And it's just so much fun to work cooperatively with your friend to try to figure out where they are. You each move around. You choose. It's so much fun. It's another great deduction game, and I think also playing as the Jack character is a lot of fun. Trying to be doing the hidden movements, trying to almost like listen to what people you're playing against are saying. Often they'll say too much, and using that to your advantage. It's good.
I think just the way the theme and the main mechanic of the game mesh together, it kind of like you said, it's so well done. It just it feels like a game of cat and mouse. Essentially, it really feels like you're in that kind of situation. You feel very immersed.
It is very immersive.
Sure. There you go.
Especially Whitehall Mystery, which gives you unique, it gives you more background on your detectives.
And I want to say I prefer Whitehall Mystery just because it's a more it flows together better. Yeah, it's more streamlined. So Letters from Whitechapel can be very long and can feel a little bit.
Yeah. Plus, you're constantly resetting.
That's
I agree. Whitehall is better. And the thing about those games that's great is that there's never a dull moment. Yeah. I mean, there's the waiting for Jack usually, but you're never comfortable in that game because even if you think you're doing well, you really once you look at the map you're never more than a few spaces away from anyone trying to catch you when you're playing as Jack. At least they don't know that necessarily. You can be doing great, but it's so the balance between the distances of the numbers and the space in that game is it's so well designed.
Yeah, and the way the movements work, that the detectives can only move on, I think it's the squares or whatever, and Jack can only move on the numbers, and so it's just it's very
we had a session we played on this channel where I won as Jack, and they never found a
single clue,
but I was never comfortable that entire game because they're always nipping on your heels. Yep. You really, it's an
and we've literally had a game on this channel where it's come down to us choosing one of two circles, and we just had to 50%. We knew he was on one of those two circles, and it was a total guess, and we got it right.
It is so good,
and it's one of the only games I can think of where I don't mind losing that much.
Yeah.
Because when it's all over, if let's say you're the detectives and you lost, well. Now the Jack player gets to sort of gloat and explain his path through the board throughout the game.
Yep.
And there's always these moments where you're I was one step away.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny. It's not annoying at that point. It's just oh my God, if I had done this, it's just a lot of fun.
Yep.
Okay, so those are our top 11 games that we played on the channel so far. I'm going to quick run down other games that got a vote just so they get a little shout out. In 12th place, start there. My number 4 game didn't quite make it. That's Pretty Clever. And also, twice as clever. I love both of those games. They're super quick, easy to learn. I think they're a bunch of fun. Number 13, Will's number 5 game would be The Lost Expedition. Another game kind of similar to The Grizzled.
Cooperative card game.
Yeah, trying to stay alive, pretty much.
Yeah.
I agree. I think The Grizzled is maybe a better experience overall. The Lost Expedition is easier, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe,
With the Fountain of Youth expansion, it becomes a much better game.
Yeah. Number 14, Graham's number 6 game, Hanabi.
I love
Good
Hanabi.
card game. Yep. Fireworks. Good time.
Good game for couples, apparently.
It is. Great game.
Yeah.
My number 7 game, Onitama, clocks in there at 15th. My number 8 game, Wingspan, gets in there at 16th. My number 9 game, apparently I didn't do very well, Root. Got 2 points. I love that game. We have a tie, 1 point apiece for Sagrada, Will's number 10 game, Flamme Rouge, my number 10 game, and Cosmic Factory, Graham's number 10 game. Those are all good games.
They are.
They're all.
I don't think there's much to complain about there.
Nope.
Maybe some omissions that people will notice, but nothing. I think those are all a bunch of good games. I just want to shout a couple games that we did play, but I didn't put on my list because of the nature of them. Because they would probably both make it if I were just ranking everything. Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective, and Legacy of Dragonholt. We played both of those games here. I love both of them, but I've played them mostly by myself at home. Without these two, they haven't had the full experience like I have, so I didn't rank them. But those are really great, sort of narrative. Dragonholt's more of choose your own adventure, sort of RPG sort of thing. Sherlock Holmes is a detective game, but I think they're both excellent games I've had a lot of fun with, but I didn't want to put them on here. We've played some good games here, boys.
Let's keep going. We got Resurrecon, Yamatai,
Let me talk about Codenames Duet. So that is our first ever Board Crazy Top 10. Naturally, it's not a top 10 list, it's a top 11 list, but that's just how we do things around here. We hope you enjoyed this list. If you did, you can, of course, like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you. Your thoughts on any of the games we listed, any games that you figured would appear that didn't. And you can also check out our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, if you want to follow us on those. And let us know if you did like this, if you would be interested in us doing more list videos like this. We certainly have ideas for other ones that we would gladly go over.
We'll take suggestions too if you have an idea for a list you'd like to see.
Yeah, we want to hear from you guys at home.
Now, come back next Wednesday, there will be an update video, sort of outlining our plans for the end of this year going into next year.
Yep.
That'll be informative. And and I think there also will be a something unique, a product review coming out before that, either Sunday or Monday. So keep an eye out for that.
All right, cool.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so that's going to do it. Thank you again for watching, everybody. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.
See you next time.